Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be going over the official game preview for Ravens versus Rams tomorrow. The game is obviously tomorrow. Every single week, the day before a Ravens game, we go over the official game preview, talk about the keys to victory, all that stuff, go over the final injury reports for both teams heading into the games, and just kind of talking about what we need to do to get the win tomorrow. And obviously, it is a game preview day. We are going to go over everything with that. It's going to be a very tough game tomorrow. The Ravens have a lot on their plate, including an incredible offense that is Puka Nacua, Davante Adams, Matt Stafford, Kyren Williams. I'm going to talk about them a lot in today's episode because when it comes to the Rams, that is a big reason why they're favored in this game, is because they have such a high-powered offense, and the Ravens' defense has obviously been very bad, plus their offense has been not good. Their offense isn't good without Lamar Jackson, we'll just say that. But we are healthier. We talked about this in yesterday's episode, how the Ravens are looking a lot more healthy and a lot more ready to go for this game than they did last week. But again, this is still a Zach Orr-led offense, so that does not mix well at all. And obviously, there's no Lamar Jackson, so the offense is going to be down their superstar quarterback once again. But another week of practice with Cooper Rush kind of running with the ones, so hopefully the offense will look a little bit better than it did last week. I didn't really think it could get any worse from last week, but we'll see what ends up happening in this game. So let's just go over the game preview. So going over the official game preview here for Ravens versus Rams. The Rams are currently are sitting at 7.5 point favorites. The over-under total score is sitting at 44.5, which is a little bit low. You know, if Lamar Jackson was playing this game, it would be a lot higher. But the Ravens are 7.5 point underdogs. This is the most I've ever seen us underdogs in quite a long time. Usually the Ravens are favored in pretty much every single game that they play, but obviously with all the stuff that's happened this year, we are currently sitting at 7.5 point underdogs, and the Rams are 7.5 point favorites. So, first, I just want to go over the injury report really quickly for both teams. Obviously, when it comes to the Ravens, it is a lot longer and a lot more, going on. This is not what I wanted to look at. Before the Rams, Rob Havenstein, which is an offensive lineman, he's not going to play. Tutu Atwell's questionable. Colby Parkinson's questionable. Omar Speights is doubtful. And Witherspoon is on IR with a collarbone injury. Obviously, we understand the injuries for the Ravens. No Lamar Jackson, no Pat Ricard, no Roquan Smith, no Chidobe Awuzie. Zay Flowers is questionable, but he should be playing. And then no Emory Jones once again for back-to-back weeks since being activated off the injured list. So, going over this Rams-Ravens game, it's going to be a tough task. It is going to be a very tough task for the Ravens to find a way to win this game. Overall record, our past 3 games were 1-3. The Rams are 3-1. The Rams are a very good team. The Rams are 3-2 on the year, but they have an extremely high-powered offense, which is going to be a very big part of this game for them. The Rams' defense is solid. They have some pretty good players like Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk. They have some really good players on defense. And Jared Verse was asked earlier in this week. They were asking him, what is your opinion on not facing Lamar Jackson? How is it going to be not facing Lamar? And he said that he's going to be really pissed because he really wants to play Lamar, and apparently that he is on his sack list of quarterbacks, which Lamar Jackson is probably on a lot of defensive players sack list, bucket list for sacks, because again, it's Lamar Jackson, and he's a very hard quarterback to get down. Not this year though. Lamar Jackson's been sacked quite a bit this year because the offensive line hasn't been great. But Lamar's on a lot of people's, quarterback bucket list, sacks list, so that makes sense. But going over this game just in general, again, this is going to be a very, very tough game for the Ravens to win. They've got a lot going on. They've got a lot of injuries going on. They are looking healthier. Kyle Hamilton's back. Marlon Humphrey's back. They are looking a lot better on defense in terms of the players on defense. But in terms of the scheme, once again, what Zach Orr is going to have to do from a week-to-week basis here. Last week, the defense was obviously down a lot of players, but they still looked bad schematically. He's going to have to make a very big jump to get this Ravens defense back on track, because they're playing a way more high-powered offense than last week, and last week we gave up 44. So it might get even uglier. We might give up 60 tomorrow. Who knows? But to be honest with you, I would be surprised if we didn't give up 40 with just the way our defense is playing. Obviously, with everybody on defense that's healthy again, we're kind of just banking on individual talent. We've been talking about that all year. The scheme on defense is just not good, and it lets up a lot of big plays, which, I mean, the Rams team might as well be like the big play team with the guys like Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, and obviously Matt Stafford throwing the football. He's going to come out guns a-blazing. It could be a really rough game tomorrow, and the Ravens are going to, they could easily fall behind in a game script scenario, which doesn't suit them. Because obviously, when it comes to the Ravens and their path to winning, what they need to do is obviously get the running game going. Obviously, they couldn't really get the running game going against the Texans, but the game script also went against them in that game. If the Ravens defense can give the Rams some trouble, if the Ravens defense can get the Rams some trouble, maybe force a turnover, do something, just hold them, and just show some signs of life, which they haven't all year. If they can give the Rams offense some trouble, and the Ravens have enough time and the game script suits them to get the running game really going, then I do think it's possible for the Ravens to win this game. I think whether it's Cooper Rush out there for a majority of the game or Tyler Huntley, Cooper Rush is going to be starting, but they might go to Tyler Huntley if things do go bad with Cooper. If they can just not turn over the ball and just kind of focus on what they need to focus on, keep everything in front of you, not make mistakes in terms of passing the football, maybe short passes to Zay Flowers, get the ball in his hands, let your playmakers make plays, and then give Derrick Henry the damn ball. Get him going, get him working, because again, the offensive line has been good. They haven't really been able to give Derrick Henry a lot of holes, but if the offensive line can do it, and again, when it comes to the offense, you have obviously not having Lamar Jackson, but the offensive line also hasn't been great either. But if they can just give Derrick Henry some rolls and he can get some running lanes, I think we can be very, very good and in good shape. They just kind of got to control this game and stay in it as long as possible, because that will suit them in terms of what they need to do. But if the Ravens once again just let the Rams score touchdowns on back-to-back drives, then the game script's not going to go on our way, and there's going to be no way that we come back in this game. So it all does come down to the Ravens defense, and obviously are being able to establish the running game, because I do not trust the passing game with Cooper Rush at QB. The running game hasn't really been great recently at all. I think there was a stat that Derrick Henry had more yards in week 1 than he's had in the past 4 weeks combined. So the running game really hasn't been going there. He's been getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage a lot. Hasn't really finding any open lanes. Even when Derrick Henry's running downhill, he's still not really finding the holes to really get that burst of speed in the second level. And that's what he's known for. That's what he's best for, is those plays right there, being unstoppable once he can get past the initial level. But just a clean game. I mean, John Harbaugh said in practice the other day that he was very impressed with the way that his players practiced. He was very impressed of how they played in practice, so hopefully that can translate over to the game. But I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I'm not worried about this game, because I am extremely, extremely worried about this game. It's going to be a little scary. It's going to be a little scary because, again, I mean, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, right? This Ravens defense has looked like garbage. This Rams offense has looked amazing. It doesn't really mix well. And again, anything can happen in football. Anybody's day can be anybody's day. I mean, we saw the Giants just whoop the Eagles' ass on Thursday Night Football, and the Eagles just looked like garbage. And again, there were signs and holes with that Eagles team, and they really did get exposed in that game. The Rams offense doesn't necessarily have a ton of holes. I mean, they had a couple turnovers on their last loss on Thursday Night Football, but they should have 100% beaten the Niners in that game. But again, the Ravens, they just have to control this game. They cannot let this game get out of hand early. They have to be able to stick to the run and have it actually work and make sense. Because, again, if they can get the running game going, if Derrick Henry can get some lanes and he can get some 6, 7, 8 yards per carry type runs, I think that the Ravens will be in good position to win this game. But at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to the Ravens defense not absolutely playing like garbage. They are going to get healthier. They do have secondary help in Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey. They have help on defense. We have help on the offensive line. So overall, we should play better in this game, but the Rams are a better team than the Texans. That's what scares me, though. it just Puka Nacua scares me. Devontae Adams scares me. Matthew Stafford scares me. This Rams offense is electric, and I just don't know if this Ravens defense is going to be able to really hold them. I could easily see the Rams dropping 45 plus in this game, and it being a very similar situation and scenario to last week's game against the Texans. I can see that game last week pretty much happening kind of again this week, and I wouldn't even be surprised. But again, we've all talked about this, what needs to happen post-bye week, and obviously we'll have a lot more of an understanding of what the record is going to be tomorrow. We're either going to be 2-4 tomorrow, or we're going to be 1-5. So either way, we're not in the greatest position in the world. But if we can win tomorrow, go to 2-4 heading into the bye week, and then get Lamar Jackson back, get Roquan Smith back, and just settle in as a team, and hopefully get a new defensive coordinator to kind of implement his new scheme. Probably going to be Chuck Pagano if that happens. But if all that can happen and we can all mesh together over the bye and we can figure things out over the bye, we have a very, very easy schedule after the bye week. We'll talk about it more, during the bye week. We'll talk about it more next week during the bye week, kind of about, who's going to play and, our schedule and, what we need to be doing during the bye week and post-bye week and stuff like that. And we'll have a lot more info on that heading into this weekend or heading into, early next week. But it is very possible for the Ravens to still get back into this. It's still very possible for the Ravens to get back into this. It's still possible for them to get back into the season, so I'm not going to write them off completely. If we do fall to 1-5, then it's going to be looking even worse. But if they go to 2-4, then we will have a real shot of getting back into this. But again, if they fall to 1-5, it's going to be rough, and Lamar Jackson's going to have to drag a 1-5 team to try and drag him to the playoffs, and that alone would deserve him MVP. But overall. It's a very, very interesting game. Very important game as well. A win puts us in a good scenario for a second-half comeback after the bye week. But a loss would kind of put you in a bad position, but you can still end up coming back into the season. A lot of Ravens fans, including myself, are kind of already, thinking that we're going to be 1-5 heading into the bye week, which isn't great, which is just kind of crazy to even think about. But again, it's all about the start of the second half and what kind of run the Ravens are going to go on after the bye week. That's all that matters right now, because that's all that's going to be able to save this Ravens team to try and get back into the season. When you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, you cannot waste seasons like this, and I understand that he's hurt, and this is going to be the second game that he missed, but we're going to have to find a way to get back into the season and just figure it out. Because, again, that's why the bye week is so important. And we'll talk about this more next week during the bye. But this game is going to be very important, dictating, how badly the second-half comeback's going to have to be. Because either way, we're not going to be in the greatest position. But hopefully the Ravens can show some sign of life, get a win before the bye. Maybe that momentum can carry over till after the bye, and we can go out there and do our thing. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify. Also, make sure to click the link in the bio to check out the Twitter and the Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see all of the Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube links or tabs and names all on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube, so make sure to give those a follow. I would greatly appreciate it. And again, I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. There's been no Orioles stuff recently, still waiting on the news about a new manager, but again, the Orioles season did just end a couple of weeks ago, so it is all football right now. It's all Ravens content. And again, we have the game tomorrow. This is the last episode before the recap episode of the game tomorrow. Obviously, sometime tomorrow night, we'll go over the game, go over the recap of the game, talk about everything that happened in the game. And hopefully, we'll be sitting here at 2-4 heading into the bye and sitting at a decent spot to hopefully come back in the second half. But again, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Steelers day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.